The flight deck was loud. Even when nothing flew, it still hummed, turbines winding down, boots echoing on steel, voices clipped short by calm's discipline. But he made no sound. He swept the edges. Just a push broom, worn gloves, slow steps. Always near the hangar doors, always early. Most called him deckhand. Some thought he was part of janitorial rotation. Others assumed he was some old aircraft handler with nowhere else to go. No name, no rank, just a man with squared shoulders and silence that never asked for space, but was always given it. That morning the rain had stopped, but the hangar smelled like tension. A new pilot team had rotated in, fresh uniforms, tighter boots, louder laughs. One of them, younger, sharp, restless, watched the old man drag the broom past a maintenance sled. "You think they even pay him?" he joked, loud enough to carry. No one answered. Not because it was funny, but because no one was sure. Later, when the team was reviewing flight procedures at Bay 3, the deckhand passed by again. He didn't look up, didn't pause. But his eyes flicked, once, toward the tail markings on the jet they were prepping. And he stopped walking. Not for long, half a second, but it was a full stop, like something wasn't right. He moved on. No words. The crew chief on duty, leaning against the tow cart, noticed. "Hey," he called. "You okay?" The man didn't turn, just gave a short nod, then added, almost as an afterthought, "That jet's off by 1 digit. His voice was low, but steady. Measured. The kind of voice that doesn't guess. The crew chief frowned. "What digit?" "Tail code. It's reversed." "That's not possible." The man didn't argue. Just tapped the handle of his broom against the floor twice, then kept walking. 5 minutes later, they pulled the manifest. He was right. Wrong tail code. Wrong bird. Wrong crate entirely. Someone had prepped the wrong aircraft, and no one else had caught it. The hangar felt louder that day, not because of engines or machinery, but because of nervous noise, voices trailing longer than needed, laughter with edges, footsteps that didn't quite match the rhythm of routine. People had noticed what happened with the jet, not publicly. No announcement, but enough eyes now tracked the old man when he passed. Still, he swept like always, gloved hands, slow gait. A rhythm so even, it felt deliberate. At 14:15, a service panel hissed under pressure. Not an emergency, just a valve, auxiliary bleed-off line for the air cycle system. It shouldn't have hissed. It should have vented silently, but it was a fraction tight, enough to spike heat inside the cabin. No one heard it. Not really. Except him. He was halfway past the bay when he stopped, turned his head slightly, then walked, not toward it, but just close enough to place a gloved hand against the access seal. A beat. Then he tapped the latch. Once, twice, held. The junior tech nearby looked up from his checklist. "Sir, hey, that panel's restricted." The old man said nothing, but he stepped aside, gave space. "Something wrong?" the tech asked again. A long pause. Then, "Feel the edge. It's warm." The tech raised an eyebrow, touched it, frowned. "Didn't think to check that." The old man just nodded. "It's trying to breathe through its teeth." The phrase didn't make sense at first, but when the tech rechecked the vent lines, the heat had climbed 12 degrees beyond expected. Left unchecked, the pressure would have warped the sensor tree mid-flight. Later, the tech told his supervisor, and the story began to circle, slowly, quietly, through the senior enlisted. A man with no clearance, no badge with rank, and ears tuned to machinery like it was breathing. That night, the operations log included a single note. AUX vent correction, flagged by civilian contractor, resolved before ops compromise. No name attached. But the supervisor underlined the entry. Just once. It started with a login denial. Nothing dramatic, just a routine attempt to issue a work order credit for civilian floor maintenance. The junior logistics officer couldn't find the file to tag. No contractor code. No onboarding signature. No record of employment at all. She tried again. Then deeper. Still nothing. She flagged it to her supervisor. He tried himself. Still blank. Then he found the only thing that resembled a personnel file. It wasn't missing. It was sealed. Redacted. Redacted files aren't unusual on base, but they don't belong to broom pushers and hangars. This one had no photo. No listed name. Just a code string. And a single phrase typed across the top margin in small block font. Non-operational asset. Do not query externally. That was it. No exit date. No incident report. Everyone walked away fine. No retirement. Only a paper presence, like someone had left a shadow behind and walked off the page. The supervisor sat on the file for half a day. Then, late afternoon, he walked the perimeter of the hangar until he saw the old man leaning beside the mop sink. He approached slowly. Sir, you've been around this place a while? The man didn't answer. Didn't move. You were the one who flagged the tail code yesterday. Still nothing. Then, after a long moment, the old man nodded once. The line was painted wrong. You notice everything? A longer pause. Then, I remember what it looked like before it changed. The supervisor studied him carefully now. There was no tension in the man's shoulders. But they carried something. Like weight that no longer hurt, just settled. Were you with maintenance before? He asked. The man shook his head. I was with flight. Which wing? Another pause. Not long, but heavy. The one they don't number anymore. The supervisor stood still. Nothing else was said. But when he left the hangar, he closed the office door behind him more quietly than usual. The question was simple. Who is the man sweeping the deck? But no one wanted to answer it. At first, the inquiry passed like a joke, something said over coffee in the control tower, accompanied by shrugs and polite smirks. Then someone asked again, formally. In the system. The request bounced, rerouted. Then came back with nothing but a 5-word response in the remarks field. Information not cleared for personnel. Captain Fields, flight lead for the incoming rotation, didn't like mysteries, especially ones that moved inside hangars with access no one could explain. He brought it up to command during debrief, twice. He's always present during tech checks, Fields said. He's correcting issues without being assigned. Who is he? The commanding officer looked up once from his folder. Didn't frown. Didn't blink. He's not assigned to you, Captain. That's not what I asked, sir. A long pause. Then the CO leaned forward. Voice even. Measured. That's not your question to ask. The room stayed still after that. Fields didn't speak again. Just nodded and left. Later that week, the same captain crossed paths with the old man near the exhaust cooling stations. They didn't speak, but something in Fields shifted. His posture softened, his chin lowered, and his right hand, almost unconsciously, touched the edge of his brow. A half salute, not regulation, but enough. The old man didn't return it. He just looked past him toward the open sky at the end of the hangar bay, like he was waiting for something that hadn't come back yet. Inside the maintenance office, the redacted file stayed untouched. No one tried to open it again. But someone left a folded note on top. 3 words. He never stopped. It was inspection day. Command staff in clean uniforms, boots polished, steps rehearsed. The kind of morning where hangar crews stood a little straighter and even the clipboards had fresh ink. The old man still swept. Not faster, not slower, just the same rhythm, same broom, same gloves. He moved along the outer wall, his path quiet, unnoticed, until the convoy of brass passed through the side doors. General Hollis led the group. Retired 4 years ago. Brought back for infrastructure audit and legacy review. He hadn't set foot in this hangar since his final flyout. He leaned slightly now. Age, not damage. But his gaze still cut clean. His eyes were sharp, though. He didn't miss things. As the group passed Bay 5, Hollis was mid-sentence about floor reinforcement grants when he stopped. Just stopped, mid-word. Everyone turned. He was staring at the far corner. At the man with the broom. The man looked up once. Briefly. Then back down. Kept sweeping. But Hollis didn't move. His left hand trembled slightly, then lost its grip. The clipboard in his right slipped free, clattered to the hangar floor. Not loud, but everything stopped. One of the younger officers stepped forward. General? Hollis didn't answer. His jaw moved like he was trying to remember how speech worked. Then, barely audible. He's here. The old man looked up again. This time longer. Their eyes met, and for one full breath, no one else in the hangar seemed to exist. Hollis took a step forward. Slow, uneven, but deliberate. The old man stood still. Not defensive, not proud, just present. Hollis stopped 2 feet away. Spoke softly. You didn't go home. The old man shook his head. This is home. Another beat. Then Hollis, a general with 3 decades of command and more decorations than clearance levels, removed his cap, and held it in front of his chest. Not a salute, not an order. A thank you? Spoken without voice. No one asked questions after that. But word spread. And the next morning, a single chair was placed at the edge of the hangar by Bay 5. Not labeled. Not touched. It was just there, waiting. The mission logs were in the archive beneath operations, dust-heavy, rarely touched. Mostly for audits and historians, long missions with long names, some still redacted. The kind of records that felt more myth than memory. But Reyes, now 2 months into rotation, had started reading them, quietly. On nights the hangar went still. One entry caught his eye. No mission name. No unit. Just unscheduled refuel. In theater vector correction. Single pilot. Unauthorized field runway. It wasn't the words. It was what was missing. No pilot ID. No aircraft tag. But at the bottom corner of the page, someone had drawn a small arc in pencil. A flight pattern. Unusual. Tilted wide left. The kind of path you'd fly if you knew the NAV satellite had just failed. Next to it, handwritten. Call sign, Raven 3. Do not file. Reyes didn't move. Didn't speak. But something in his chest tightened. Because 2 weeks ago, he'd seen a patch, tucked under the flap of the old man's coat, for just a second. A Raven. 3 black stitches. No color. He remembered it because no one wears patches anymore. Not ones you can't explain. Reyes showed the log to the hangar supervisor the next day. Didn't ask permission. Just laid it on the table during shift change. The supervisor scanned the page. Said nothing. Then closed the folder carefully. You didn't see that, he said. But it's him, Reyes replied. The supervisor looked up, eyes tired but clear. Then let him stay seen. No need to say it out loud. That night, Reyes walked to Bay 5. The old man was there. Not sweeping. Just sitting in the metal chair someone had placed by the wall. The wind from the far end of the hangar moved slowly, pushing a sheet of paper across the concrete. It stopped near the man's boot. Reyes picked it up, held it. Didn't hand it over. Just folded it once, carefully, and said, Raven 3. The old man looked at him. Not surprised, just steady. We flew when the lights went out, he said. It was early. Too early for briefing. Too late for night watch. The hangar still held its breath. Steam rose slow from the vents near Bay 5. The chairs were empty, save one. The old man sat there, like always. But this time, he wasn't holding the broom. He was holding something else, wrapped in canvas, tied at the edges, thick, soft from age. He didn't look up as Reyes approached. You're early, the old man said quietly. Reyes stopped beside him. Didn't sit, just waited. The old man untied the wrap, unfolded it. Inside was an altimeter. Analog. Tarnished brass. Scratched glass. Still ticking. You flew with that? Reyes asked. I trusted it, the man replied. Reyes leaned closer. The needle was stuck at 19,000, but it pulsed once, just slightly, when he picked it up. We don't use these anymore, Reyes said. That's why they fail when the signal drops. There was no bitterness in his voice. Just fact. He looked at Reyes now. Really looked. You still trust the sky? Reyes didn't answer. Not right away. He ran a thumb across the scratched dial, then nodded. I trust who taught me how to fly through it. The old man sat back, watched him. There was a mission, long ago. No lights. No comms. We had to land on a ridge no one had mapped. Cloud base was thick as oil. No markers. No radio. He paused. We couldn't see the sky. But we remembered what it felt like. He placed the canvas back over the altimeter. Didn't tie it this time. Just handed it to Reyes. If the screens go dark, this will still whisper. Reyes took it. Gently. Didn't say thank you. He just held it like it might break. Or remember. When he looked up, the old man was already walking away. One slow step after another. Boots brushing against concrete like memory. The outage came during rotation drill. 3 birds in the pattern. Reyes on final. 2 behind him. Tower feeding vectors by the second. Then, silence. No static. No warning. Just an empty channel where instruction had been. The cockpit went still. He tapped the comm twice. Nothing. Behind him, Flight 2 broke pattern and climbed. Standard safety climb. Reyes didn't. He glanced down. The digital gauge blinked 800 feet. Then blanked. Artificial horizon stuttered. Map froze. But in his jacket pocket, tick, he reached in slowly, fingers wrapped around the cold brass. No numbers, just a needle, and a rhythm. Tick, tick, tick. The hangar was silent as they watched the feed. No visuals, just internal telemetry. The operator whispered, "He's not turning." Another voice, "He's flying manual." Captain Fields leaned in, eyes fixed on the data screen like it owed him something. He said nothing, but his jaw tightened. Reyes exhaled, shallow, controlled. He remembered what the old man had said. "We couldn't see the sky, but we remembered what it felt like." He banked left. Not sharp, just enough to feel the drop soften, then down, nose level. Wind angle caught just right. His hands didn't grip. They remembered. The way pressure shifts across the palm when you're aligned. The way silence sounds when you're beneath cloud ceiling. The wheels hit with a gentle stutter. One bounce. Then clean contact. Reyes taxied to Bay 5. Shut down. Opened the cockpit slowly. Inside the hangar, no one spoke. Not until the engine spun down. Not until the tick, that tiny, impossible mechanical tick, was heard through the cockpit mic. Still going. The altimeter needle sat steady. Not perfect, but true. 19,000, flickering down to sea level. Like it knew. That evening, Reyes walked to the metal chair by Bay 5. It was empty. No broom. No gloves. No old man. But under the chair, folded clean, the canvas. And tucked inside, not the altimeter, a single card. Military issue. Edges curled. Name blacked out. But at the bottom, 2 words in faded ink. Raven 3. Reyes didn't pocket it. He sat down, placed it in his palm, closed his hand around it, and listened to the silence. Because now he understood. Some legacies don't leave. They just change uniforms.